Hello everybody and welcome to the Champion Ladder Season 1 Finals. I did cover this match live, but I got a lot of feedback saying that I was very negative. And some of it was observations rather than complaints, but I thought I would try to be less negative and maybe point out the good plays people make rather than just trying to analyse too much the mistakes and stuff. So let's go with Ducke, and I'll also, now that we can pause it, and I've got Fashbinder here, the best Blood Bowl 2 streamer in the world. We can both analyse it. So we can pause it and say what we think would happen and stuff. Now I think here, this actually wasn't a deep kick. I thought it was a deep kick when I was watching it live because Ducke stayed back with his protection. I'm thinking if I'm Ducke here, I go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I make a kind of an oval shape here. He does obviously have to be wary of the wizard for the whole match. If we can have a look at the teams as well. Okay, I can't. I've got to play it to see the skills. Right, I'm playing now, Fashbinder.
Okay.
Right.
There's 2 force strength, 1 sure hands. You're right about playing it though, but what if we looked at the sure hands guy? He's the obvious guy who's going to pick up the ball. Where will he end up after his turn? It's just a little bit further away from the LOS to provide a proper screen.
Yeah, but I would still just use the whole team to protect the ball. Against Skaven, they've got a wizard. I would be wanting to keep my whole team together as a unit, and I would have a big sprawly mess here with this guy in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'd have had a big formation like this. That's not to say that I'm right or Ducke that's wrong. I'm just saying that's what I would have wanted. But of course, the way he did it, he got an extra foul in here, and he did commit to the blocks, And yeah, he's out of range. He's out of range of these, which is fine. But it does let Javelin potentially intersect his team with a screen here.
Yeah, so if we pause at the ball pickup location and when the ball carrier has stopped moving, where those last 2 blitzers could have gone. Yeah, sure, he could have moved forward, but what do you reckon about the diving tackle and out on the right-hand side?
Well, you see, I would have just then made the whole thing differently. I would have this blitzer I would have brought back, and I wouldn't have fouled. And then you suddenly got 4 players all around here. But it's just what I would have done. I'm not saying it was right or wrong. Before people get too defensive or anything, just against this game, because now the way Ducke's done it is, sure, he is out of range of like a ball steal, but with some luck, if I was Javelin, I would have made some GFIs here, and I would have really tried to get as strong a screen as possible in between the 2 teams here.
Yeah, and look, there's never going to be a wizard turn 1, no recovery to score outside of a gutter runner holding it next to the.
Yeah.
Turn 2, you would maybe should see the wizard if he's looking, but not turn 1.
Yeah.
Reminds me back in the Bucky and Aryan match where Bucky did a 4-man cage behind his halfway point on turn 1 to play around the.
See, like this thrower, he could have made a GFI or something. This gutter runner could have made a GFI, especially this gutter runner. Because this is why he lets him in. I think if this throw makes a GFI, this gutter makes a GFI, then all of a sudden he's got a bit of a proper screen in the way. But because he basically half-arsed it, he's not. This guy isn't doing anything to screen this gutter runner here, and neither's this one really. I would have made a lot of GFIs to really, really, really split the teams.
Would you have re-rolled it?
Yeah, I would have 100% committed a re-roll turn 1, not to this dodge, but to GFIs here. I would have absolutely tried to jam it up as much as possible, because I think okay, because this is my point of view of the games, right? When you look at the teams, can I pause it here? I can see the skills. Yeah. When you look at I'm paused at the start of turn 2, Fashbinder, just so you know where we are.
Okay.
When you look at the teams involved, right? The Skaven have got 11 players. Oh, that's pretty loud.
Fireworks. I'll pause my.
Thanks. Right, fireworks for Fash there. Right. When you look at the 2 teams, the Skaven team is trash. Right, it's got a wrestle strip guy with 2 heads. It's got a blodge guard gutter runner, and it's got a claw pommer. There's very few threats on this team, really. I mean, sure, with a wizard, the other 2 gutters are threats, but he's got 11 players. You know, just over the course of the game, you've got to imagine Ducke's just naturally going to smash him with these 3 Mighty Blow players that he's got. And he's got more strength, he's got a couple of tacklers, he's got a frenzier. You've got to imagine that Ducke is going to outbash him heavily during the course of the match. And basically, if I was Ducke, I would have been constantly thinking about how to just play as absolutely safe as possible, because you know that's it. You just can't let him in because it's in such a dominating position. So that's why I was kind of critical of Ducke, you know, in some ways, because I was that's my mindset would have been, just don't fuck this up and don't throw it away, you know, and play around the wizard as much as possible, and just, you know, against bullshit dice as much as possible, because without bullshit dice, this game is only going one way, or with a massive fuck up, you know, basically. Sorry for swearing. Right? Are you there, Fashbinder? Let's press play.
If I was still going on, I'll be back when they stop.
Fair enough. Thank you. So he's got a tackle Mighty Blow as well. I mean, that's obviously a great play there. I mean, I would argue that it was bad play by Javelin to give that outlet, unless now this is when I was thinking maybe that was a good play, because he left this little gap here. You know, naturally, Ducke is going to want to flood players, get guard around the ball, get lots of players around the ball, make sure. See, he's got guard on both corners, so whatever happens, it's going to be a -2 dice. Standard play against a wrestle, dauntless strip baller. But he's got a big formation here, and he has done as much as he can to protect against the wizard. But you know, if you slam in a wizard here and get lucky, he's got a bit of a chance. So I thought maybe this was good play by Javelin. I would have made the good GFIs though, Fan Fox. I would have made the GFIs to make a screen. So now at this point, I'm thinking maybe Javelin's made a good play here, because he's got gutters both sides, and he's got the claw pommer there. I thought maybe he's going to wizard here and put some real pressure on, or come in from both sides and put some pressure on. But instead, he blitzed this guy, got his armor break. And, you know, he only lost 1 player on turn 1, which gave him a pretty decent shot. So you got to think, you know, he's made a removal, so now it's 10 versus 10. He's got to go all men's at some point, or he's got to use the wizard at some point. And instead, he just gives up here. He just protects his team, and he makes no effort to get in the way, or pop the ball, or just do anything. Which makes me wonder what his plan for turn 1 was, you know? I mean, it's a very strong cage, isn't it? It is anti-wizard, because he's got these extended things, which is good. And he's got the guards there. So, I mean, it was a very good cage by Ducke. He would have had to been lucky to have, you know, done a fireball and got a good benefit from it. Or he could have bolted still and blitzed this guy with a claw pommer. There was things that could have happened. He got pretty unlucky, to be fair, making 2 dodges and failing them both and getting them both knocked out. It was pretty unlucky by Javelin. But of course, he could have just laid them down as well. He didn't need to dodge them out. He could have just left them both lying down. And then this created a massive gaping hole here. You know, which was Ducke too eager to move into it? You know, did he go too far? This is what he did against Muldripster. Against Muldripster, he got an opening like this and really sideline caged it and really overcommitted. This time he's been a bit more cautious. Again, he's got the guards here, so that wherever if he does come in with the stripper, it's going to be a -2 even if he makes the dauntless. Obviously, he makes the Mighty Blow blitz into a Mighty Blow block, which is fine. But I think, you know, maybe he didn't need to go that far. Maybe if he'd just gone 1 or 2 squares further, 1 or 2 squares less, these could have made a bigger formation. I was always thinking about keeping the whole team in a formation like this. You know, I would have wanted to keep everything, you know, more in one big mass. Just because I would only be terrified of. And see, he's committed here to make a big. Yeah, they did. Yeah, of course. Javelin had just done that for some reason. But he gets a big foul, and he gets the Kaz, which is obviously lucky to get a Kaz and Apple fail, and unlucky to get caught. But his bribe worked. So yeah, let's pause it here at the start of top of turn 3, right? This is why I didn't like it, because sure he has, but you know, he's only got 8 players, so it's not that good. The Skaven player has only got 8 players, and even if he does fireball here with a possible recovery, or bolt here, this guy's out nowhere. This guy's out almost nowhere. This guy's out nowhere. So he is very far away. It wasn't a bad play by Ducke at all. You were lucky to get a Kaz and him fail the apple. I think that was lucky, yeah. I mean, I think you would expect with 3 route fouls, one sending off, you just made a 2 foul one. So yeah, I think that's actually lucky. Yeah, to get a Kaz that doesn't apple fails is absolutely lucky from 3 fouls. Yeah, I think it is.
The fireworks have ended.
Oh, get banged on.
Yeah, no, it's good. But see, yeah, so Wizard now doesn't look as good.
No, of course not, because
back previous turn when you said, gutter runners on either side, I too thought like it had to come then. He still had the blitz in hand. If the scatter's shit, he blitzes to get a rescatter, and the 2-head scatter runner can pick it up relatively easily, unless it's the second scatter's unlucky.
Yeah.
But that was his chance to get the 1-0 lead, having burnt through 3 turns of a drive. Puts Ducke on the offensive, makes him make riskier plays to get the ball downfield rather than a safe grind where he can throw fouls willy-nilly. To make that aggressive play turn 1 and not follow up with that turn 2 Wizard, I think was just next level. Yeah,
I think that wasn't good. But, still here, I still think, the fact he's gone so far does make it hard for the Skaven to get in contact. But, even just moving, they could have screened off these 4 guys, which shepherds Ducke down and makes it harder for him to stall, Like, I'm not saying that he should have wizarded on this turn, Javelin, but if he screens here with his whole team, now what does Ducke do, He's if he can't get these 4 guys back, it just makes it harder for him to stall effectively. Then if he screens off here, then next turn the wizard becomes a massive threat again, and he's only got 6 players on this side of the ball. So that's why I thought it was a little bit risky, because as I say, Ducke's team advantage is so massive that he's basically just got to guard against absolute bullshit. He's not really.
What do you think?
He's hardly playing Blood Bowl at this point. It's just pure like playing. His advantage is massive, to be honest, in this game.
Would you just mans the 6 at the cage and look to screen off the 4 midfield?
Yeah, I would have maybe just tried to screen. If I was Javelin, I would have maybe just gone for a hard screen. And then it's up to Ducke to commit to that screen however he wants. But because you've got plenty of time as Skaven. If Ducke scores on turn 7, Javelin's got a decent shot of winning, hasn't he? So
yeah, absolutely.
So it's
keeping those 4 away just for 2 turns.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be enough.
Yeah, plus it gets because his team's too far away to take advantage of a wizard or a ball popping already. So by putting the team here, maybe blitz this peasant or blitz this guy, blitz this guard mighty blow guy. If he put his team in here, but instead he hasn't, his team's on the other side. So now Ducke straight away moves to support his cage, doesn't he? That's Ducke's first move is to move the dirty player to support the cage. So yes, Fash is commentating Smelly Elbow in chat there. I've turned off chat because it's not live, so we avoid spoilers from the chat. Because this is a replay. Because I was too critical apparently in my first analysis. And I'm trying to do the good points as well as the bad points this time. See, and this time again, now I think this is much riskier from Ducke than the last turn. Yeah. Because he's done the same thing, right? This time he's committed these players to make a 3-dice blitz with Wrestle and Mighty Blow on a gut runner, which is fine. Though it is his worst gutter runner. And he's committing for the foul with +3 assists, dirty player. Obviously, it's a great foul. It's a great foul, and obviously he wouldn't have if he had just removed the gutter runner with a Mighty Blow blitz. He would have supported the cage more. But he gets sent off, which that's not unexpected, is it? And obviously it's a fair trade for him. But now, surely, let's pause at the top of turn 4. Surely, Javelin has to make a play on the cage, because now look how far away these 3 players are. And he's actually in range now with his gutter runners. You know, he's got 3 gutter runners here. They're all not very far away. To me, this is the perfect. Obviously, not perfect, but you either bolt.
It's the closest you're going to get, considering this field state.
Exactly. He's down 4 players, and you know he's actually removed 2 of Ducke's with a foul and the thing. So he's only down 2. 3 of them are out of the picture for this turn. I think.
So he's technically up 1 in terms of relevant players to the ball.
Exactly, yeah. That's why I thought this was a bit risky from Ducke. I but it paid off for me. He traded a dirty player for a gutter runner, and I can see why he did that. There was obviously obvious benefits to making 3 dice blocks with Wrestle and Mighty Blow on gutter runners, but I just think it gives him a bit of a lifeline, doesn't it? It gives Javelin a bit of a lifeline here. He could maybe bolt or fireball. And swarm.
It'd have to be a bolt. I couldn't think a fireball would be the way to go.
No, yeah, you've got a bolt.
Not with the 4 strength sure hands.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were greedy, you'd fireball. Yeah, if you were greedy, you'd fireball. Some people would fireball here. But yeah, the fact that this guy, blodge step, strength 4, sure hands, he's so hard to get the ball off him. You would just straight up bolt. And then you get to blitz one of these 2. Or maybe him. No, it's probably one of these 2 you're going to have to. If the ball goes here, obviously you're in a bad state. But even then, he's got the 2 heads to come in.
Yeah, exactly. Because the cage is wider to dodge the fireball.
Yeah.
The dodge in isn't hard. It says 2+, isn't it?
Yeah,
With
it would
heads?
be. It would if you bolt this guy. Yeah, 2 heads. You're 2 headsing around everywhere. So I thought this was probably where Ducke thought I was most harsh. I thought this was a bit too much of a gap here. But let's see how Javelin takes advantage of it. He just goes in for 1 dice.
Yeah.
Fails the Dauntless. And then fails it. Double 1's the dodge.
How many times have you done a first action? What was the dodge? Dodge in?
It was a 3+ dodge in, and a 2+ dodge out. And
so how many times have you 3-ined for a 3+ Dauntless to get a 1 die that needed a power both down?
Yeah.
3+1 die. Never in a million years. Certainly not in the final. Not with the wizard in the hand. That's a play that you do when you don't have a wizard.
Yeah, maybe. And and he just hasn't committed. You could commit everything except 1 gutter before you do this. Because this gutter can just go free, can't he? These guys can't cover him. So at least commit these guys to the cage as well first, or fireball the cage. Because if you fireball the cage and you get knockdowns here, the fireball wouldn't have been that bad. Because if he knocks this guy down with a fireball, he gets the guard assisting to make it, an easy 2 dice on the ball. So this guy coming down from the fireball wouldn't have been relevant. But he gives him 2 shots. I would have bolted. Obviously, I would have bolted. But,
fireballing 3 men, though, yeah.
Yeah,
but I can see the merits of the fireball in that not recovering this turn, but recovering next turn.
Yeah.
Seems a lot more desirable with the 3 men on the other side of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, the guard might have blown us in the wrong place. Yeah, the guard should have been there. That's Ducke's called that. Should have called that. But yeah, he should. If he'd got the guard around the ball, that would have been better, wouldn't it? But now, because Javelin just did only move 2 players, one of which did unluckily roll a double 1. Let's not forget. Now Ducke gets to reform, and now he's completely dominant again, isn't he? Gets to dirty player. One of the 2 most relevant players on Javelin's team. I will be playing later, yes, Pedro Jack. I just wanted to redo this, seeing as I got so heavily criticised for being harsh. Or just commented on. But I didn't want to be so harsh this time. So there you go. I mean, a stun for a send-off is like nearly every foul I've ever done in CRP. Right, let's pause at the start of this turn. Where are we?
Well, what about the end where he leaves it and looking at the Ducke's defensive setup here?
Yeah.
So Or even pre-foul, knowing that the send-off is possible with the dirty player.
I think it's okay. I think maybe you could have had somebody here or here. But
See that giant hole there?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a giant hole.
Well, it's a no-dodge path to the carrier. Well, to the wrestle guy, which can be blitz throw push post bolt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a similar sort of state to the previous turn.
Yeah, he could still
bolt around and weaker tackle zones.
Yeah.
So had he not done these silly two-heads dodge, and made safe plays instead, now the recovery is even easier.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely.
But maybe that's why it happened, because it was on the ground, so Ducke can afford to.
He had to foul. I mean, this is one of the big threats that Javelin has. Javelin basically has two threats for the game, which is this player and in player-wise, he has two threats to win the game: claw bomb teeing off, dominating the game, and the wrestle strip, getting the ball, and wrestle tackle. He's not wrestle tackle, is he? No, he's not in wrestle tackle. Holy shit! So the wrestle strip doesn't even do anything. The wrestle dauntless guy may be getting the ball, and the claw palm teeing off. They're basically the two key players, and he gets to foul one of them with a few assists. You got to make that foul, but you've just got to make sure that your ball's safe. But he could still bolt here and try for some dodges, But instead, what does he do? I don't know. Now I think maybe he goes all men's contact when he's got no players left, and he's going to get brutally outbashed. 2 stuns. I don't know.
Yeah, well, look, he's still got the gutters there that can receive a handoff post recovery or even a quick pass, and those gutters are away, and he wins the game.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, 100%. If he bolts here, gets a good bounce, blitzers, he could have done something, so I would have done, because he ain't going to get a better chance. The game's slipping away. You can see he's got 4 players out. He's got 9 players max for the second half. He's getting blitzed by Mighty Blow every turn. He's it's like, it's such a horrible, horrible position for Javelin. He had to go balls to the wall, and in my opinion, he is definitely misplayed by not going balls to the wall. You can see why Ducke made the plays he did, because obviously there was big payoffs. He was trying to get the advantages. I mean, the 3 dice Mighty Blow blitz here is obvious. There's nothing. I mean, that was why, at this point, if you're going to do that move there that Javelin's made, just run your whole team away, because you're just giving up a 3 dice tackle Mighty Blow hit for nothing. Well, no, Ducke, that's not really how stats work. I'll explain later if you want, but yeah, I think so. I think if you play Magic, then there's a great article about who's the beatdown and inevitability. And inevitability means, like, if the game goes on, who only one player is going to win, and obviously that's always the control deck. The longer a game goes on, the control deck's always going to win a Magic game, and basically the longer this game goes on, the more it's slips away from Javelin. Now he's got 8 players max for the second half. He's giving up more Mighty Blow hits. He's just going to give away more and more Mighty Blow hits. He's going to be able to protect his key players less and less. And it's only another death. No, not at all, Ducke. Honestly, that's not. You wouldn't get slightly below 9 at all. No, that's simply not true. The data does not support your position. I'm not even being funny. Yeah. So I mean, now it's turn 7 for Ducke. The only chance of Javelin stopping the score is bolting here and then making 4 + 4 + 3 + dodges through. So obviously you can't really think about doing it.
I mean, that's how he got the win over Vince.
Yeah.
Except Vince had the option of not giving him the bolt.
Yeah.
In that he could have just been out of range of the gutter.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That is simply not true. The data does not support your assertion.
Yeah. So, yeah, and plus there's a 1 in 9 chance of him just failing the pickup. So actually bolting for the 1 in 9 chance of failing the pickup probably isn't even that bad, considering his other options of just losing. But no, it's not, because now you've got to think, the reason that he didn't bolt there is obviously he thinks if he scores early in the second half, or like turn 3 or turn 4, then Ducke's got 4 turns to protect it. Maybe he can bolt him and turn him over. So, you've got to keep the wizard for the second half at this point. But just things are going to go from bad to worse for the Skaven from here on in, aren't they?
It's a second-tier option. You should have looked at the first half turnout, 100%. One up in your opponent's drive lets you just dick around on your drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dicking around with a non-move gutter runner.
Yeah. And I mean, here, see, from what Javelin said in the OCC Discord, he said that he just lost his reserve line rats and his one turner last game. So obviously, if he had a natural one turner,
did he?
Yeah, that's what he said.
I don't think he did.
Or maybe he lost them in the quarters then, or at some point in the tournament.
Maybe,
at some point in the tournament. So if he'd had a natural one turner, then he can still win this easily, can't he? He just scores and that's it. But so it would have been a huge difference if he'd had a one turner and like a couple of reserves would have completely changed the complexion of this match, wouldn't it? Even with the way it's gone, all already.
It'd definitely be an extra threat up the sleeve. But,
yeah.
I guess the one turner must have been the wrestle tackle on the block.
Yeah, the block one. Yeah. So he's lost
definitely
it. Definitely
wasn't last game.
Okay, he's lost it at some point in the tournament though, and if he'd had a natural here, I mean, it's just an easy touchdown. If I was him here, I would have. He's set up to get the 2 dice block, tackle claw pom on this guy, and then has done the handoff first. Oh, he went for the one turn. I didn't even notice at the time. I would have just gone for this punch. I would have just gone for the claw pom hit on his best player. Or I would have set up for a quick snap. He could have set up for a quick snap there for the Skaven. I think what he set up was going for the -2 push was really, really unlikely. I don't agree with Javelin's play there on turn 8. But
yeah, something like a 10% play. The 2 heads 5+ with a reroll into reds for a push. That strictly had to be a push.
Yeah, I think that was asking a lot. I think I would have played for the quick snap. He could have put 3 guys over here in case of a quick snap, and he could have. He had a very good chance if he got a quick snap, if he'd set up for a quick snap. But where he was, a quick snap hardly helped him because he could have only quick snapped forward around a side stepper. So I would have totally set up on the side, hoping for a quick snap or riot, or set up like he did with a guard next to the claw pom and just claw pom, Ducke's best player basically. And yes, as it was mentioned in chat, if there was a one turner for Javelin, then Ducke would have obviously chosen to kick to give him more chance to remove him before he had the chance to utilise the one turn. That's just standard play. Right, claw pom
probably would have been focused more as well. Seeing a one turn throughout in the field.
Exactly. Yeah.
Would have been blitzed at some point. Would have failed if it was ever.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a one-turner, then it changes the complexion of the game because then Javelin's got a lifeline. Whereas now you're thinking, I've just got to not be really stupid. just got to pass my really stupid rolls, and I'll be all right this game. And he's gone for the potato because he's got no players. You know, he just thinks run it down and maybe score, I guess.
Yeah, but that's not the right play.
No, I don't think it is. But I mean, you've got to think. You know, at this point, Javelin, he's desperate, isn't he? He's got 7 players. He just runs out of ideas, and he just does it.
I mean, a better player. Well, I think I would have had the thrower backfield out of range and sent more than one guy receiving threats.
Yeah.
Just so you know that when one gets blocked down, there's at least one more option.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't.
And GF line with the ball too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's okay because it gives. Although there's obviously only 1 in 6 chance. There's a 1 in 6 chance of you using your reroll and a 1 in 36 chance of failing. It does make it harder for Ducke. You know, Ducke now has to make a GFI to hit him and stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ducke actually makes 2 GFIs to hit the ball in this case. So, you know, I think making the GFIs is fine here. Because it gives Ducke a chance to roll a 1. So what Ducke does here is he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 GFIs to 3 dice the ball, so that he can't sidestep to here. I think I would have just gone in this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and only 1 GFI, because I think by making 2 GFIs, there's a good chance of you using your reroll or of just straight up failing the GFIs, and you're going to have to reroll it, aren't you? Because you've really got to put him down this turn. But you know, he obviously he wanted the recovery from his sure hands guy, which is the way he did it. I'm not saying he's wrong, but yeah. Now I would have just come in this way, and then if he sidesteps to there and he goes down, the ball's still in 2 tackle zones, isn't it? Or 3 if you follow up. And obviously half the time he's knocking him down, he's not even getting to sidestep because he's going down on the wrestle half of the time. So this was the rationale that was displayed, but I would have definitely come in this way, just personally. And then he got the wrestle. And he got a very nice bounce, so he gets to go and pick up with the sure hands. And obviously if he'd come in the way that I said, it would have scattered again from there, but, you know, who knows whether that would have been good or bad. And he makes his 75% pickup, and now he's in a pretty strong position. Now again, alright, straight away Javelin stands up. Javelin could have bolted here. It was an option, wasn't it? It was an option to just bolt, to score in his own drive, as horrible as that is. Maybe that's what he could have done.
Oh, you're long past the optimal bolt play.
Yeah, exactly.
How can anything remotely be salvaged?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
does he have any other capacity to take the ball before strength to your hands?
Yeah,
if not for the bolt right now.
Yeah, and this is the way the game was always going to go, really, wasn't it? But he got his 1 dice, pow. I mean, it was a 5+ to get the ball, but obviously the sidestep got to keep it somewhat safe. And then, as it happened, he caught the bounce, and then dive and tackle got that. So this was a pretty great turn for Ducke now. But he's still got 2 players down, so it's not easy for him to protect it, actually, is it? Crazily. I think I would have made a big cage up here. I would have moved this guy over here, this guy here, blocked him and got the ball in there. But instead, Ducke makes a bit of a ballsy play here. He goes for the handoff to the sure hands. Now, the reason I would have just kept this guy in the cage was because this guy was down, so he couldn't really get him very easily. I would have maybe just kept it on. I would think I would have kept it on the wrestler, just so that if he gets bolted or there's a fireball, the sure hands guy can make the recovery, you know. But again, that's you know, he had to make that roll there to get this guy out to complete the cage. If he hadn't made that, then maybe the Skaven gets 2 dice on the ball. Now he finally gets the wizard. Yeah, I mean, I'm being very nitpicky now, and it's only my opinion, but all Ducke has to do is avoid absolute bullshit. And there is some absolute bullshit.
Is it nitpicky, though, or is it a play that could, you know, result in the ball being on the ground Gutter Run is relevant.
Well,
But it's not.
I don't know. This is the
I don't
thing,
think that's nitpicking. I think that is Blood Bowl in its essence is what is safer in terms of this 1% slightly better play, or this 1% worse play to be in a better position on the field.
Yeah, sure.
Those are absolute discussions that separate the greats from the mediocre.
Ah, you're a lovely chap. But yeah, I don't know. And I mean, obviously, he fielded 2+ dodge there. So I mean, he hasn't had great dice Javelin, and Javelin had to get great dice to even have a shot in this match. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, is failing the 2+ that unlikely with it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I mean, it was like he needed lots of things to go his way to have a chance, didn't he? He got a great wizard. Imagine if he'd done that wizard on turn 2 or turn 4 or whatever, I mean, that was a game-winning wizard, wasn't it? Hitting 3 players, stunning the ball carrier, KOing another. I mean, that would have won him the game if he'd done it if that had happened. It was a great fireball, but it was just too late for him. The game was already lost, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2-head strip ball was a danger. But I mean, he was a long way away, wasn't he? And it wasn't. I can see why Ducke did it. I mean, I did say when I was commentating live, I said, this is the big question now. I mean, it was a big question. Does he hand off to the sure hands, which leaves him more susceptible to wizard, or does he keep it on the blocker, which makes him more susceptible to the wrestle strip? And that was just like a judgment call, wasn't it? And who knows who was right. That was random. And again, I don't know why he did this first. Javelin. I mean, I know it's almost over, right? He's got no rerolls left. He's got all these players removed. But he just moved this guy first. If he'd made the block first, the ball's on the ground. He could have just picked it up with his gut runner and passed it to this lineman and scored. Like, I know it's really unlikely, but he had completely given up by this point, Javelin, hadn't he? I think. And yet still, if Ducke fails the pickup here, it could easily be a touchdown. It was crazy. It's crazy how powerful Skaven are that they can still be in with a shot after everything that's happened, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, not a power here into touchdown.
Yeah.
Into receive the kickoff in overtime after getting some miraculous stall.
Yeah. And this is why I say Skaven are the most overpowered team, because if Orcs had this many players left on the pitch, it's done. Or humans, or Bretts, or whatever. But Skaven with gutter runners, anything can happen. It's outrageous. And it was weird because he had to re-roll it, but he also couldn't afford to re-roll it in a way, because now, if some ridiculous bullshit happens, he's done. Imagine if he just failed the pickup. 1 in 9 the pickup. Ball goes.
Or even just a double skulls on that block.
Yeah.
We haven't seen many of those this game. It's about due. Yeah. Fails the pickup with no reroll on a 1 there. They got to fix it up and is in.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, it's terrifying to be in such a dominant position to still have that be an option.
Yep, absolutely. But now it's over, isn't it? Now once he did that, he could get out of range of the gutter, and it was over. Then it was over at this turn 13. It was officially over. Yeah. Oh, I know Pedro Jack. Yeah, Pedro Jack said even if he scored here, you'd back Ducke to win all day long. And you would, but he'd have no rerolls. And, anything could happen then. Like things could have happened just like Ducke rolling quad skulls and stuff. Things like that was what had to happen, Fail a 1 in 9 pickup on turn 1 or later. Javelin had to get the dice involved as much as he could. He had to pressure as hard as he could, I think, because it was in such a desperate... From the start, it was desperate. Obviously, now it's just gone.
Yeah, that's been my pro tip for new players. If you're new to the game, just single man mark everyone, and you'll win more games than you.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, thank you, Ducke. Ducke just giving us the thumbs up for the cast, being more informative while still being critical. Right, Fan Fox says, Going back to Javelin's turn 1, would you made a huge effort to screen off and split the Brets in all circumstances, or was it particular to this situation? It was particular to the fact that the Skaven was so outclassed. If the teams were equal and it was like a fair game, if like let's say the Skaven had a 1-turner and 3 reserves, you wouldn't have had to have gone balls to the wall. But I think in this situation, in my opinion, Javelin had to absolutely go for it. I would have made like 3 or 4 GFIs or something. I would have done whatever it took to really make as strong a screen as possible, because I thought that was a bit of a mistake's a harsh word, but I thought that was, Ducke gave him the chance to do that, so I would have taken it, because I didn't think there were many chances for the Skaven in this game. And obviously,
I don't know. I'm gonna have to disagree. I think the turn 1 play to make the middling screen with the obvious weak point for the obvious blitz to come through, to have the gutter run on either side of the obvious place where the cage was going to be.
Yeah.
To get the bolt into a recovery on either side post blitz, like I thought it was fine to not fully screen them off if that screen involved GFIs that you'd have to reroll. I wouldn't invest a reroll in it. If I could have done it without the reroll, I absolutely would have screened it off properly.
Yeah.
Because it needed GFIs, I personally wouldn't have. For the sole purpose of getting that wizard and looking for maybe a 2 or 3 turn stall before running it in and being up 1 on my opponent's drive.
Yes. Okay. So if he
But
had
I would
done
have had
that,
to have used the wizard.
Yeah. So you do one of those two plays. You either go for the screening, or you go for the obvious cage up into fireball into recovery that he didn't do. So he should have done one of those two things. Yeah, absolutely, Fashbinder. Yeah. I think it's hard to say which one of those is better. Obviously, you wouldn't want to have to use a reroll on those 3 GFIs to make it a really good screen. But if you do what Javelin does turn 1, it looked like a really clever play to suck a Ducke into a cage where he wanted him to cage, with pressure from both sides, ready to fireball or bolt and all man's him or recover or whatever. And ultimately, he didn't take advantage of Ducke's decision to keep his team split. That was this strange thing, I thought, that Ducke chose to keep his team split into 3 and 8, because I would have tried to keep them all together as much as possible. But there you go. I think it is what it is. It's all about the trade-off. Ducke wanted to go for more pain a lot of the time. He wanted to maximise those blocks, which ultimately resulted in a pitch clear. So you can't argue with that, can you? And I think
any team with no bench, I would be doing the same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's loads of ways Ducke could have played that and still won. I think there's only one way Javelin could have played that and won, which was to go all out wizard turn 1 or turn 2, or maybe turn 3 or turn 4. No, not turn 3, from where it was. But if he'd played turn 3 differently, he could have wizard on turn 4. And he just had to get that and he never really did any kind of aggressive defense, which is what I think he had to do. And I don't think he did it. So I think he made the bigger mistake than Ducke. I wasn't really saying Ducke was making mistakes. Ducke had options, didn't he? And he chose the more aggressive options a lot of the time, which isn't obviously wrong. It's just preference. But I think Javelin objectively played wrong by not going hyper aggressive. That's in my opinion. So. Right. That concludes it. Have you got any parting words, Fashbinder?
No, very good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you summed it up entirely.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for casting, Fashbinder. Congratulations to Ducke and Javelin for getting the final. But his team was absolutely outclassed in the end. Ducke's team was much better. I think Ducke played better, and there you go. Congrats to him. Hats off. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And stay fantastic.
Stay fantastic.